Now, if I was a really good editor, which I'm not, the intro to this video would be the Super Smash Bros. A New Challenger Approaches screen, but instead of a new character, it would be the Laceless Tekela V3 Pro. Like I said, I'm not a good editor, so you're going to have to deal with this version of that. Now, as I'm sure many of you are aware, today New Balance unveiled the next generation of Tekela, specifically the Tekela V3 Pro, which is distinctively different from the first two generations. One, because it features a fully knitted upper, and two, because it's a laceless football boot, which is something that we haven't really seen from other major brands as an answer to what Adidas is doing with laceless football boots, kind of more or less having a stranglehold on the market where nobody has really tried to compete against them since they first introduced it, going all the way back to 2016 with the A16 Plus Purecontrol. I know that Lotto with the Celista 102 Gravity, if I'm remembering that name correctly, is kind of a response to Adidas, but it's also a copy of the Predator 18 and 19 Plus in a lot of ways, depending on how you want to look at it. But this from New Balance is the first legitimate answer we've seen from another brand with a unique design of a laceless football boot. Now, in a perfect world, I would have had early access to these boots and had a review ready for you guys today. Unfortunately, that is not how things worked out. Although, as of 5 minutes ago, I did get confirmation that I have a pair of these new laceless Tekelas on the way, which I hopefully will get within a week. So stay tuned to the channel for my full proper review of this football boot. With that said, even though I haven't tried them yet, I figured it would be interesting to make a video talking about what exactly New Balance has introduced, what this means for the future of New Balance football boots, and what this means for the future of laceless football boots in general. We're now seeing an answer from New Balance in terms of what Adidas has. Does that mean that Nike, Puma, and perhaps other brands are going to do laceless boots as well? That's stuff that I want to discuss in this video. So if you want to learn a little bit more about these in terms of the technical side of things and at least some of my own personal opinions, please stick around and I guess listen to what I have to say, and feel free to share your own opinions as always down below in the comment section. As always, if you guys do end up enjoying this video, please support it with a like. It goes a long way. And if you are new here watching for the first time and aren't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. So the first thing that people are going to comment on is the way that these look, and I'm pretty confident this is going to be one of those boots that you either love or hate. There's not going to be too many people in the middle, but I really feel like I'm one of those people in the middle where I don't hate the way that they look, but I'm also not in love with them either. There's certain angles that I think make the boot maybe look a little bit weird looking. I'm still kind of undecided on the way they did the New Balance N kind of overlapping across the top of the foot. It's a little bit strange to me, but I don't think that they're ugly. And again, future colorways could completely change my mind on this particular design. Speaking of colorways, this is the very first one. It's called the Future Sight Pack color, and with New Balance, they're always a little bit strange with initial launch colors because they often consider them to be limited edition. The reason why that's important is because of the retail price, which for this boot is $230 US, less expensive than we've seen with a lot of launch colorways from New Balance. What often happens is they launch with this limited edition version that's more expensive, and then regular colorways come out down the line and they end up retailing for $200 to $210. So these are $230 from the get-go. It's a possibility that regular colorways down the line could retail for $200 or $210. Either way, even if the price remains at $230, these are a lot less expensive for a top-end laceless boot versus your $275 options, again at full retail, on offer from the Adidas brand. But what about the performance of the boot, the technology behind the laceless design? Because this has really been the angle that Adidas has used in promoting their laceless products, basically saying that it's cutting edge. It's the future of football boots. Laces are old news and old technology, even though they still make laced variations of all their top-end models, which I think is a little bit contradictory, but that's for a completely different video. Either way, obviously, if you don't know how to tie your shoes, this is great. But from a tech standpoint, let me read what New Balance has put on their website because I think it's pretty interesting. The playmaker's choice for the artists of the game who strive to perform with daring creativity. The Tekela V3 features a unique embedded pattern and new algorithm-driven kinetic stitch technology for high-resolution touch and graduated strike zones for ultimate mastery of the ball. I'm still unsure if this is a football boot or a 4K 144Hz refresh rate TV. A full foot stretch knit upper with an integrated hypo knit Laceless enclosure also offers a secure and comfortable lockdown. The sole is engineered for elite athletes and boasts a lightweight nylon chassis with multi-directional TPU stud tips for incredible traction and acceleration on firm ground pitches, a boot for the next wave of dynamic game changers. How is that whole thing 3 sentences? Well, according to New Balance, they're amazing, but let's read between the lines a little bit because I think that there is a more simple breakdown to what exactly is going on here. The one thing that I can't comment on is the actual laceless system itself, because while you have what looks to be a standard one-piece upper laceless enclosure that's fully knitted with the elasticated knit across the top of the foot, flowing into the collar, there is actually something happening internally in terms of a lockdown system that I'm anticipating being somewhat similar to what we have internally on the Nemesis 19 Plus. We'll see what it actually is and what it actually does, because that for me has really been the one area of laceless football boots where we haven't seen as much innovation as I thought we would see. Either way, if you look at this upper, immediately what it reminded me of was the knitted upper introduced on the Puma Future 19.1 that kind of had that shrivelly, like, you know, when you stay in the pool too long or in the bathtub and like the tips of your fingers shrivel up a little bit, that's kind of what the Future 19.1 looks like. Obviously, it's a little bit different here on the Tekela V3, but that pattern is more or less what it reminded me of. And apparently, this is based on a new algorithm, whatever that means. But more or less, to put it in simpler terms, they've mapped out kind of contact spots on the upper that they deem to be the most important, and they've raised the texturing, or at least made the texturing more significant in those areas. Does that necessarily result in a better touch on the ball? No, but it can have some variation to the feel. Again, until I've tried them, it's difficult for me to comment whether or not it's good or bad. For me, what I am most concerned about is the softness and or lack thereof of this particular knitted upper, because it does have some kind of a polyurethane top layer, of course, as a protective layer, as well as to add additional grip on the ball. How much additional grip, I don't really know. And how soft is this knitted upper, I'm not really sure, because if we look at the Furon V6 Pro, this upper is incredibly soft. It's incredibly flexible. It's honestly an amazing aspect of this boot, but it has a lacing system. If you took this same upper with really a lack of structure in a lot of ways and you took away the lacing system, I could really see there being some major issues in regards to lockdown. And again, I'm not commenting on how these boots fit, feel, or perform in any way at this point in time, but if it's like this, I'd be a little bit worried. To put it very simply, it's a 3D textured knitted upper, and as we've seen with all the different knitted uppers that have come out basically over the last 6 years, there is a lot of variation in terms of feel, softness, and structure from one to the next. How good is this one going to be? Hopefully as good as the Furon, but again, until I've tried them, it's very difficult to say. What is happening with the knit upper across the top of the foot, where the laceless system is, as well as flowing into the collar, is something that is more predictable, though. It's basically just elasticated knit material. So as you can see, they're not really reinventing the wheel here in terms of the design on the outside of the boot, at least. Again, what's happening inside could be completely different. It's very difficult for me to say, and there's obviously no pictures of it. Either way, I'm curious to see how much tension this knit is going to provide, because that ultimately is the big thing. And here's the issue with laceless boots as well. It can only provide so much tension, because if there's no stretch to it at all, it makes it impossible to put the boots on or take them off. So it's finding that balance that I think is very difficult with the laceless boot. So hopefully they get that right on the first go. And then of course, the fact that it is mid-cut, I don't think, now that I'm thinking about it, New Balance has ever actually done a mid-cut football boot before. So along with being laceless, it's also their first mid-cut boot. And the collar just looks to be, again, elasticated material. Ankle support, if you believe it's there, will be there. And then as for the sole plate and stud pattern, despite having what is admittedly a very cool design on the bottom that looks different, it is physically the same as the outgoing Tekela V3 Pro, which was, like I said, a slight redesign over the original Tekela and an improvement in terms of providing slightly more aggressive traction. And the nylon sole plate does admittedly feel quite good, but from a design standpoint, while this gets the job done, it is fairly generic and definitely not as special as what we've seen introduced recently on the Furon line. So they probably could have done a little bit more there. They obviously have chosen to save some money. All of the R&D and money spent definitely has gone into the upper. And because the sole plate and stud pattern is the same, you can probably expect the Tekela V3 Pro to be in a very similar weight range to the V2, if not actually weigh a little bit more, because there does appear to be more material to that upper versus what we have here. And then finally, to answer the question, will this boot be a serious threat to the laceless boots currently on offer from Adidas? And having not tried the boots yet, it's very difficult for me to say yes, they're on the same level from an objective performance standpoint. Obviously, that's information that I'll have to follow up with you in my actual review of the boots. But for me, I don't really see this being enticing enough for the laceless football boot consumer, which we have to realize is not everybody. Some people have tried laceless boots and they love them. Some people have tried them and they hate them. I don't think that the people that don't like them are going to give these ones a chance, and I'm not sure that people that are currently in love with the Adidas laceless product, aside from the price point being lower on these New Balance boots, I'm not sure that they're going to have that mass appeal based on mainly the looks more than anything. So we'll see what happens. If you are a fan of laceless boots, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts and opinions on how you think these compare to what Adidas has on offer and if you'd be willing to give them a chance. But for right now, until we see a major response from either Puma or Nike in regards to laceless boots, I don't think Nike's going to do it. Puma, it is a possibility. I still see Adidas remaining on top as far as the king of the laceless football boot category of the market. Anyways, guys, that's it for my preview, not review. I want to make that very clear. Again, I have a pair on the way. As soon as I get them and able to try them out, I will have a review up on the channel as I normally do. So stay tuned for that. If you guys enjoyed this video, please support it with a like. It helps me out a lot. And if you have any questions regarding anything that I talked about in this video, feel free to ask those down below in the comment section. If you guys aren't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.